The king who did things beyond anyone's imagination. Over 30,000 inscriptions of the knowledge he gained. Some inscriptions are still unread. Some describe stories older than those mentioned in Bible. But he didn't just inculcate knowledge. It goes way beyond that. His name was Ashurbanipal, king of Assyria, ruler of the largest empire on earth in the 7th century BC, stretching from Cyprus in the west to Iran in the east, and at one point including Egypt. He was known for two things that almost never exist in the same person: absolute brutality on the battlefield and an obsession with books. Most kings of his era could not read. Ashurbanipal not only read, he was trained as a scribe. He mastered both Akkadian and Sumerian, the two dominant written languages of the ancient world. He wrote about this himself. "I have learned the wisdom of Nabu. I have laid hold of the scribal arts." In the ancient world, that was extraordinary. Kings gave orders. Scribes wrote them down. Ashurbanipal did both. And he had a mission. Ashurbanipal sent scribes across his empire with a single directive: find every text ever written, copy it, and bring it back to Nineveh. He did not ask, he commanded. Letters survive from this period, actual letters showing local scholars and temple priests being ordered to hand over their collections. The king wanted everything: medical texts, legal codes, astronomical records, ancient myths, divination manuals, hymns to gods that had been dead for centuries. The scribes worked for decades. When it was done, the result was stored in the royal palace at Nineveh, a collection of over 30,000 clay tablets, organized by subject, cataloged, each one stamped with Ashurbanipal's royal seal. And on each tablet, he added something else: a warning. On most of his tablets, Ashurbanipal inscribed the same warning, verbatim, in cuneiform: "Whosoever shall carry off this tablet, or shall inscribe his name on it side by side with mine own, may Ashur and Belit overthrow him in wrath and anger, and may they destroy his name and posterity in the land." This is the earliest known book curse in human history. He was not just collecting knowledge, he was protecting it. He understood, perhaps better than anyone before him, that what was written on clay outlasted everything else. Kingdoms, armies, bloodlines, all of it ends. But a clay tablet, if kept dry, if kept whole, survives forever. He was right. In 612 BC, a coalition of Babylonians, Scythians, and Medes burned Nineveh to the ground. The palace collapsed, the roof fell in on the library, and the fire baked the tablets harder. When scholars finally began translating the tablets in the 19th and 20th centuries, what they found rewrote the history of human knowledge. The library contained 660 medical tablets, the most systematically organized collection of medical knowledge in the ancient world, more structured than anything the Greeks produced for centuries afterward. Diagnoses, treatments, symptom lists, a methodology that would not be seen again at this level of organization until the physician Galen, writing in the 2nd century AD, over 700 years later. It contained detailed astronomical records, observations of planets, stars, and celestial cycles,
recorded with a precision that modern astronomers have been able to verify against historical sky data. It contained legal codes, mathematical texts, dictionaries, the world's first known thesaurus, a synonym list, helping scribes find the right word in the right language. And it contained literature. Stories about gods, kings, floods, and the meaning of being human. Some of them 4,000 years old, even when Ashurbanipal was copying them.
For over 2,000 years, the library sat buried. In 1849, British archaeologist Austen Henry Layard began excavating the ruins of Nineveh. He found the tablets, thousands of them, shattered, buried under collapsed stone. They were shipped to the British Museum in London, where they sat in storage, largely unstudied. Then, in 1861, a young man named George Smith began visiting the museum on his lunch breaks. He was a banknote engraver by trade, self-taught, no formal education in archaeology or ancient languages. He simply showed up, week after week, and taught himself to read cuneiform from the tablets sitting in museum storage. The curators noticed. They hired him. In December 1872, while sorting through a batch of newly unpacked tablets, George Smith found something that stopped him completely. A story about a great flood, a man warned by the gods, a boat, animals, 40 days of water. It was older than the Bible's version by over 1,000 years. When Smith presented his discovery to the Society of Biblical Archaeology, the Prime Minister of England attended. The Daily Telegraph sponsored Smith to go back to Nineveh and find the missing pieces. A banknote engraver from London had just rewritten the history of human civilization. The library has been studied for over 170 years. Thousands of tablets remain untranslated, not because scholars are not working. The British Museum's Ashurbanipal Library project is still actively cataloging fragments, but the sheer volume, combined with the damage from transport and excavation, means the work is ongoing. We do not know how many tablets originally existed. We do not know how many were lost in the fire, in transit, or in the decades of uncontrolled excavation before proper archaeological methods existed. What we do know is this: what has been translated has already rewritten what we thought we knew about medicine, astronomy, literature, and law in the ancient world. The tablets that have not been translated yet could contain anything. We are still reading the oldest library in human history. If you want to know what else has been buried, hidden, or deliberately forgotten, this channel exists for exactly that reason. Every video goes one layer deeper. The next one might change what you think you know.